In honor of Black Friday, I'd like to dive into a topic that touches all of our lives: money and motivation. But we're not just talking about the paper in your wallet or the number on your bank account. We're on a quest to uncover the mysterious force of money, because clearly there's more to life than just making money.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Rethink the Obvious, the podcast of critical thinking that challenges traditional views. So if you're ready, let's jump in with your host, Hussein Ben Amour.
Ask anyone why they work and you're likely to hear the answer: to earn money. It seems to be a universal truth. Money is often seen as the primary motivator for our work, but is that the whole story? A few weeks ago, a close friend introduced me to a concept that changed my view of that answer: the concept of the moving motivators. Apparently, there's more to work than just chasing money bills. The moving motivators explores deeper dynamic factors that influence our motivation at work. Factors such as personal growth, recognition, and the desire for security. So is money actually really a motivator? Do you wake up every morning thinking only, "I'm going to work because I get paid"? If yes, then you're in the wrong job. The motivation for getting up in the morning and going to work should be something like seeing colleagues, getting recognition from them for the nice work you're doing, or simply having fun. Unfortunately, many studies suggest that the majority of workers don't like their jobs or the atmosphere at work. And if it weren't for the money, they'd quit to pursue something more meaningful to them. David Graeber, a well-known and progressive thinker who died unexpectedly in 2020, wrote a whole book about this and called his book Bullshit Jobs. Adults might have been used to doing bullshit jobs only for money. This can be traced back to the generation that lived in hard conditions, World War II, and financial crises. But new generations, especially in developed countries, are on a higher level of Maslow's pyramid. Of course, this is due to many factors. The work of previous generations, colonialism, amongst other factors. But that's not our topic for now. Now I'm wondering, what about young people? How do they feel about money? Younger people tend to enjoy the little things in life and are not yet infected with the workaholism syndrome and money addiction. This brought me to ask my nephews, what would you do if you suddenly had 1 million euros? Their answers really made me think. One of them, a Japanese manga enthusiast, said, "I would buy all manga volumes in the world." Imagine that, owning every single manga book. But then, what next? He would own entire collections instantly, and be happy and excited for that for a few hours or maybe days, but he will miss out on the joy of waiting and buying one or two each week. It's the classic dilemma of owning versus experiencing. My other nephew, who is much younger, doesn't really understand money yet. He's happy to give his coins to anyone who asks. I wonder if that's just his way, or if it's something that all young children do. A piece of cake seems much more important to him than a piece of paper with numbers on it. I don't think we are born wanting to buy things. It's the fear of scarcity that is programmed into us, the fear that is exploited by marketing campaigns and transmitted to us by our society from an early age. A disease called consumerism. This brings to mind Erich Fromm's concept of to have or to be. Erich Fromm is considered by many the Sigmund Freud of the second half of the 20th century. To have or to be is a powerful idea that challenges us to think about our relationships with material possessions. Are we defined by what we have or by who we are? In his book, To Have or To Be, published in 1976, Fromm argues that if one's identity is tied to possessions, it is always under threat. Losing these possessions means losing a sense of self. In contrast, an identity based on being, encompassing human experiences and activities, is secure and cannot be easily lost. It's a powerful idea that challenges us to think about our relationships with material possessions. Are we defined by what we have or by who we are? Fromm's ideas also draw from Karl Marx, who highlighted the alienation of the human being caused by materialism. Marx believed that the value of life diminishes when people focus more on what they possess rather than on their actual experiences. With these ideas, Erich Fromm advocates for a deeper understanding of the human condition based on personal growth. Let's take a moment to think about money in a different way. Yuval Noah Harari, the pop historian, describes corporations as imagined orders. He explains that things like companies, countries, and religions exist only in our minds. They exist because we all agree that they do. They are not things you can touch or see. They don't feel pain, but we all accept that they're real. It's like we're all playing a child's game with these concepts. But instead of playing and knowing that it's all just an illusion, We really believe that these things exist. Instead of playing a short, simple story that ends in a few minutes or at the end of the day, we're playing it all our lives. This game of the global economy. This idea is really interesting when applied to money. Let's discuss the value of money. If you ask anyone, how is the value of a currency set? You'll probably hear an answer that includes keywords like gold, silver, and maybe diamonds. In fact, in the past, the value of money was based on material things like gold. The value of a country's currency was equal to the amount of gold that country had. But this idea changed during the 20th century. The most important change occurred in 1971, when US President Nixon ended the convertibility of the US dollar into gold. Today, the value of a currency is determined by market supply and demand, economic indicators such as interest rates and GDP, political stability, and investor speculation. So, money is valuable because we all agree to believe in it and trust the governments and systems that say it has value. This belief makes money powerful. From there comes the saying, money talks. This expression suggests that having money gives someone power or influence. This makes us question what is truly valuable and important in our lives beyond just money. Aren't the best things in life free? And this brings us to an idea that many consider radical, the Universal Basic Income, or UBI. What is UBI? Well, in simple terms, it's the idea that everyone gets a certain amount of money regularly, no matter what. It's like everyone getting a basic paycheck just for being a part of society. Of course, with this definition comes the famous and superficial comment that UBI discourages people from working. If they get UBI, they won't have the motivation to work anymore. Well, this isn't the place to discuss that, but I will point you to two things: the moving motivators and bullshit jobs. In my humble opinion, in today's world, people should want to work for reasons other than the threat of not having money to pay the bills. But here's where it gets really interesting. David Graeber, the author of Bullshit Jobs, says that UBI could change the way we view money. Think about it. If everyone had enough money to meet their basic needs, would we still think of money in the same way? Maybe it wouldn't seem so important anymore and instead appreciate other things more, like learning new things, spending time with our family and friends, or helping out in our community. These things don't cost money, but they're super valuable. But then who will do the work? Well, people will still want to do meaningful work, and maybe AI can help too. So what's the takeaway? Is money a means or an end in itself? How does money shape our motivations, our desires, and our sense of fulfillment? As we close today's episode, I want you to think about this. Are we chasing the right things? Are we letting numbers in a bank account dictate our happiness and self-worth? Do we already have enough security, food, shelter, to focus on what really matters in life? I leave you with a nice quote from the 17th century philosopher Francis Bacon. Money is a good servant but a bad master.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe and check out Rethink the Obvious on LinkedIn, where you'll find references and further links to the topic. Until next time, we encourage you to stay curious and always rethink the obvious.